as well as my colleagues here at the university, and whatever wider audience this video reaches. I don't like making these types of videos. I like my privacy. I don't like confrontation. But I feel compelled to respond to an email that was sent yesterday by the president of the university because I feel like someone needs to speak up for a large segment of the university that is silent, where their speech has been chilled, and I hope to give you an idea of what a Trump voter might look like. Because right now, I'm seeing all kinds of things being sent through social media, online, that has equated Trump voters as traitors, as treasonous scum, as racist. 75 million people, at least, voted for President Trump. And the language that's there. Even now, I saw one of our state reps or state senators in the state call for those that voted for Trump to be branded with an S, to be a seditionist. The scarlet letter coming back to rule.
She's probably trying to find something.
And then I get this email. If you haven't guessed it yet, I voted for President Trump. I have no fear in sharing that with you. In fact, I don't care what happens as a result of me posting this video. I simply have no fear. And I'll tell you why. But before I do that, before I tell you how I came to vote for President Trump and why I'm so sick by emails like this, I'm going to read the email that I received from John Floros, and then I'll discuss it as thoroughly as I can manage. Dear colleagues, Wednesday was a scary and difficult day. The heart of our democratic institutions, the building that symbolizes freedom and democratic ideals around the world, was brutally attacked by an angry mob incited by a group of demagogues claiming to represent true American values. It was deeply painful to watch.
Wow, good job.
Let me stop right there.
Good job.
Our cities were on fire.
Man, I wiped their eyes a half a dozen
Kenosha,
times
Wisconsin was
today.
on fire.
You always get the gumbo.
Parts of Minneapolis were burned
Yeah, it looks
to
good.
the ground. Courthouses were set on fire. Police precincts were destroyed. I never got an email from the president condemning mob violence that was perpetrated by Antifa or Black Lives Matter, but we get this now. Hundreds of millions of dollars in damage, and we are told time and time again that riots are the voice of the unheard. Quoting Martin Luther King Jr. But what happened this past Wednesday is not being categorized as a riot with an angry people that have every right to be angry. It's being called insurrection. They're being called an angry mob, demagogues. So first of all, I'm offended that this is the email that you're going to send to faculty when you've been largely silent as cities have burned. People have lost their businesses, homes. And I find it shocking because I was in law enforcement. As a deputy district attorney, I oversaw 6 law enforcement agencies. I received calls at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to help law enforcement do their job. When they were uncertain, I had to counsel them, protect them on the stand, because they were doing righteous work. And they've been demonized. The entire criminal justice system has been demonized. It has now been adopted as a racist institution. So, a little upsetting when something that you spent the better part of a decade involved in, to take rapists and murderers off the streets, to protect victims, to console them, is minimized by your silence when that's the stuff that happens. Entire city blocks turned into zones for Antifa and BLM. No email about our democratic norms. So that's my first point. Your next paragraph. It was particularly shocking for me as it brought back painful memories. More than 50 years ago in my homeland of Greece, a small group of right-wing forces dismantled democracy and installed a military junta in just a few hours. The junta trampled civil liberties, imprisoned political opponents, instigated chaos and anarchy, and ruled by fear for several years before the democratic processes and ideals were restored. First, Mr. Flores, I don't know you. You may very well be a good man, and I don't want to assign
Redirect.
anything your way that is not fair. And if you've got an experience that I can learn
Good,
from, I
Jared.
would
What did I
love
say?
to learn more from you.
Redirect.
But I want to talk about one thing that's in this paragraph dealing with the trampling of civil liberties. Are you aware of what's going on right now with Big Tech?
Good question.
Millions and millions of conservative voices are being canceled and removed from social media platforms, being removed from Twitter. We're seeing fact suppression far and wide. So
Can you
where's the
explain why
discussion
why
about
he wanted to go 45
the
minutes?
trampling of civil liberties
explain
right
this
now,
is
the most
very-
crucial one, which is
Yeah.
our ability to speak?
Why you said, why are we going
There's
45
none.
minutes? Oh,
Next
honey,
paragraph
there's a
reads,
beautiful spot. I want
however,
to
on
see it."
Wednesday,
Right across from
our
your
democratic
House
institutions
I
held
want
strong.
to look into buying.
And by the
No,
end of the day, both houses of Congress
a whole
returned
mess of stuff.
to the Capitol building to
Come on,
do the
go
people's
along.
business.
Go along.
Well, let me
Mom,
stop
are you
there.
watching this?
Yeah.
The people's business
So what did
on
you
Wednesday
think about what he said on the
was
counter?
to certify votes to ensure that there was a proper transition.
What did
to
you
the next
think that he
president.
did when he said that? What did
However,
you
in
think?
7 of those
Is that a
states,
good
there were
argument?
dueling
He's such a
electors.
smart attorney.
And the people's
Who?
business
He's
allowed
running for,
the American people to
Attorney
hear
General.
evidence
Did he
of
decide
voter
to?
fraud.
He was,
When
told them
these
if you
members
take
of
this
Congress
case, it's gonna ruin
returned,
your chances.
they did not deal with the massive black
but
cloud
Rose
hanging
insisted,
over
he said,
He
the
told him to
election
take the
in
case?
November.
you gotta take the case
They
because
did
there's
nothing of
strong
the sort.
people that you're
They
You got
used
balls?
smart,
the riot
caring person.
as grounds to move forward
Can you say you
and
got
push
balls?
their paper. Because there were constitutional
For both?
arguments both ways. I know the constitutional
Both got
arguments
balls.
back,
You got
backwards,
balls for
forward,
both?
sideways
You got
on
bull
this being a
balls.
state's
Both
right to
got
issue.
big balls.
Totally respect that position.
And I know that for
The
a fact
idea,
from
look
watching
at the
the
electors
last
clause is
movie.
that you can object and you can investigate when certain votes are not regularly.
Is that Jared Leto?
And in many
Yes.
states,
He
it's
looks
clearly
Yeah.
pretty scary in that, huh?
Georgia.
I really like him.
And for
as
those
an
of you that
actor.
watch this video think that there is no
Yeah, me
evidence,
too.
you don't know what you're
Mom,
talking
who's an asshole, Mom?
about. I've reviewed
Byron,
hours
Will
and
you
hours.
stop forming a conclusion of your present
I've
president?
read almost
you
all
have
of
to
the
send for
lawsuits that are
billions
out
to
there.
South America.
Those that
Good.
were dismissed
When
on
we're
legal
hurting.
I
process
don't
grounds.
mind.
You don't
Prison
mind?
standing.
I don't
The
mind.
general argument that we've heard
I do.
was that because
You do, dear?
this was a general harm, if you want to
I
believe there was
can't get
fraud,
minded on if you
that you
if
have
you
no
look at
standing
the stuff
because
he's done in the
your
last
harm
4
has
or
to be
5
protected.
days. I would mind everything
And that's more or less
he
the
did.
reason why
So
these
I'm not even
judges
gonna get
haven't
upset
touched
about
these
it.
cases. It's not because there isn't
I'm telling you
evidence.
again,
There
and I'll
is
say it
evidence.
many
In fact,
more
I'm in
times in
possession
the
of
future.
574 pages of sworn
But time will
affidavits and
tell,
forensic
and
reports,
time will
all
show.
of which
Yeah,
would
but
make
listen
its
to
way
people. This is
into a
what it
court of
says.
law under the
Finally,
rules
an
of
adult
evidence
is in charge
and a
of the
federal or
White
state
House.
law.
One who knows
The
what's
Freezing
fact
that
that
crap.
evidence has
and
not
actually
been heard
wants to fix the devastation wrought
by these
by the
courts, do
Trump
not conflate that with this
administration.
idea that there
Of
is no
course.
evidence.
Let it run.
Courts have done what they always
Because
do.
after a
When
while,
you have political
he's
matters,
just
they
gonna be a
want them to be
memory.
decided politically,
And
not
I
in a
can't
courtroom,
blame it on him
but through the
anymore.
elections, through the
So
state
then it's
legislatures.
time to own
And what
up
we have are a bunch of cowards.
and
We have
see who
judges
he's
that are
gonna
cowards.
blame.
We have
He's a
politicians that are
politician.
cowards.
He's
And
always
that's the
gonna
reality.
blame somebody else.
But if any of you want to actually look at the evidence,
He's got
sworn
the House.
affidavits where people
He's
face
got the
10,
Senate.
15 years of prison time if they commit perjury, and statistical analysis that just fly in the face of this idea that there was no fraud in this election. I've put forensic experts on the stand. I understand the forensics of this, not as an expert, but as someone who has listened to experts
Wait for it.
put their testimony on the stand when we let impartial jurors make a decision. And right now, that information has been widely suppressed. Now
I
let me
was out
continue
drinking
with
and doing drugs.
email. And I want you to
So
pay,
that
pay
wand is
attention to this
telling him
word.
what the jurors are thinking here?
Yeah,
How they're
Collectively,
reacting?
right.
Yeah.
we were relieved.
I've never watched this.
But we can't forget how disturbingly
He
easy
invented
it
a
is to
system
slide
where he
from
can
democracy.
Somehow have a mirror jury,
Notice how the word
and
republic is
read them.
never
I
used.
don't know how he does it.
by
Facial expressions.
Are you familiar with Dr.
democracies
Phil?
thrive when they act in
Yeah.
accord with
Are you
the
familiar with how
collective
he made
will
his
of the
claim
people.
to fame?
But when
He
the
is a
people
scam
lose their
artist.
ability or will to work towards
He
consensus, democracy
defended
is weak.
Oprah
Democracy demands dialogue. I
by
agree with
looking
that.
at jurors,
Demands that we work
there's
towards
some
a
kind of case
consensus.
against
Depends
beef
on what
or
the consensus
I don't
is.
remember
Well,
what
Which
the
everybody
case was.
sacrifices
it's
something
not beef.
for a
But
greater
something about
collective
steer
good.
and bulls and beef and
It's three
meat.
times.
But she
Reaching this
hired
compromise
Dr.
requires
Phil,
respectful dialogue among
and
people
he
with
For
different
defended her.
opinions.
Jason Goldberg.
I also
Yeah,
believe
and it was
that
a
right
correct.
now,
He was a
if you've got a
person that
different opinion,
was a
and you're
psychological
on any of the media
profiler
platforms,
of
any of the technical
juries.
platforms, you are being
And
silenced.
that's how he
Parlor
became
app
who he
has
is
been
now.
removed from the app stores of both Google and Apple, and other ones are coming down by the minute.
Dude, it's sleeping.
President Flores continues.
You never
The
heard
resulting
that, huh?
compromise
No.
is not a weakness. It is the foundational strength of a government of the people. Well, the people weren't heard
Mom, you
this
remember
past
that, right?
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Let's see, I'm gonna.
They were silenced once
There's
again.
Phil and Oprah.
And that's why you had
I'm sure it'll come up.
folks show up in the first place, because they
But yeah,
felt
he was a
like they were
profiler.
silenced in their own respective states, and
Just
they
like
wanted
Bull.
to be heard. As a nation, we are facing serious challenges ahead. The rejection of the mob rule on Wednesday is a hopeful sign that our democratic institutions remain strong and committed to solving our problems, but those institutions are us, and only through the unwavering commitment of each of us as individuals and collectively can democratic institutions survive. I would like to hear your thoughts. Please send them.
Ah, that's a good
So I'm
statement.
sharing with you my thoughts. So right now we have a quick take from the president that is regurgitating what I've seen in the
Dr. Phil
media.
and Oprah.
Effectively a bunch of Trump supporters being an angry
Oh, here we
mob
go,
being
Jared.
attacked in the Capitol
Oprah
building.
first met Dr. Phil in '96.
One of the reasons why I'm
when she
speaking
was
up
on trial
to
with the beef
restate and
industry in
reframe
Texas. As she
is
was
that
dealing with cattlemen
President
who
Flores,
claimed
you've reached a
she
conclusion
defamed the beef
prematurely,
industry on her
way too
show.
quickly.
She hired Dr.
And
Phil to
having
assist
been involved in
counsel
major
her
criminal
to profile
investigations,
the jurors,
you don't
jury
have a
members.
definitive answer in 3 hours, let alone 24 hours. And you don't know enough about this to make the claim that you're making. Was it Trump supporters? I don't know. Perhaps some got mixed in, but with who? Well, let's listen to someone here.
Alright guys, so this video's gonna be
Well, I had a pretty
a
good
little bit
memory,
different
huh?
than the other ones.
You're
I just got back from
excellent.
storming the Capitol. We stormed it. We were successful. We stormed the
Jared
fucking
got all
Capitol.
that, too.
And for all you bitches on Facebook going crazy right now talking about it was Antifa fucking being infiltrating and that it wasn't
Everybody
us.
just short
It
term
was
memory.
us.
Yeah, short term's
Proudly
not good,
took
but
back our Capitol. I'm only here in my hotel room to get some gear on. I'm going back, baby. They brought the National Guard out for us and shit. We had the fucking cops running. They ran from.
So what do you make of this?
What if I'm still recording?
I don't have any grand conspiracy theories, but the tone and tenor of your
Seems
letter
like it is an extensive
tends to assign
video right there.
guilt to a president
Yeah, but you know
that's
what? It's
trying
not boring.
to create a
he
dictatorship.
doesn't like go on
And
and on.
The blame is implicitly
He
directed
hits a
towards
number of
facts,
topics.
supporters.
Yeah,
We just heard from a man who's clearly not his supporter,
He's
who was there.
He's really good.
got to keep people's attention.
Yeah.
His words are his own. He made his statement. There are other videos like this throughout the internet. You have to find them because they're being suppressed and pulled down real time. But the reality is, this is out there. We're only a few days out from Wednesday, and this does not fit into your narrative in that email. Here's another one. Notice here, these are police, these are barriers. Look what happens.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go. And they just reached the Capitol again.
Those are police not being shoved aside. Those are police removing barriers. And you have a gentleman waving in these protesters, some of which, admittedly, are Antifa members, some of which are likely misguided Trump supporters thinking they can go inside the Capitol. It's likely a combination of both because the facts bear that out.
A guard, he's a policeman, watch. Did you see that? He was waving them in. All right, we'll play it again. Watch this. He's waving them in. Watch.
One marked state trooper vehicle, 2 black SUVs. There's 3 state trooper vehicles escorted 4 Antifa shuttle buses right here, front center.
I can hear you.
There was actually 5 vehicles total. There was 3 in front, 2 in the back. They escorted right here, waited for them to get off their buses, and they had the state troopers unloaded and took their positions.
What's this?
There's that guy, he had his lights on, they were coming, and then there's the ones up front too. They escorted, and each one of those buses are labeled.
Oh,
They're all paid charter buses. Look at that, bro.
All right, I want to show you this clip, and I don't know if you've seen this either, Lance. This was a new one that I found today. This is from inside the Capitol, just 30 seconds. It's where the protesters broke through. Now watch how it was handled.
Tapes, Mom, that he showed.
yeah.
That'll change your mind.
Well, we're really convinced of
Yeah,
it.
no, all right, then it's confirmed.
Confirmed, yeah.
All right, Jared.
All right, now I want to go back, and guys, if you can just freeze frame, Jason, on that piece where they walk, because it's real easy to miss if you weren't watching it, where when they first broke through that door, which to say broke through doesn't really count, how silly that whole was, really the whole resistance was. But look what happened, look what came through.
I didn't cut it at all.
When they came through the door. Now watch.
Yeah, I know.
I'll talk over it. You can go ahead and play it. Just kind of scroll through it.
That's Miyagi.
And he's coming in. He's coming in. They're coming up. Now watch what comes other. Whoops. There it is. Stop. A photographer is conveniently poised to catch all the action. That's amazing. A protester that comes with his own photographer, Lance, that we're actually seeing
Mom,
an
Jared
amazing.
had me put this on
All right.
pause.
Yeah, I know.
So
To watch
I don't have
this?
any
So I
grand
don't think-
explanations
Oh, you're
of
talking
what
about this?
we just
Yeah.
watched.
I beg your pardon. You want me to back
But
it up?
the
I
video
can do it. You're going up.
shows police removing barriers.
Here you go.
That's not Trump supporters. That's the police. The other video shows police waving in
Ooh, baby. No.
Wow, we
the
got more
quote-unquote
snow.
rioters. Next
Yeah,
video
huh?
shows protesters waiting on the officer's prompt, and he stopped several times while he's getting
Did you do
photographed.
Mom's windshield wiper?
I don't
No,
know what
Mom
it
did it.
means
You did,
in a large
Mom?
scale, but it
Remember,
happened.
Jared did it last
because we
time. I
just
said, "Ooh,
watched
let me do
what
that
happened.
again."
You are.
Occam's razor
You are
suggests that the
exceeding
simplest
all my
explanation
Oh, my.
I forgot to do it, so I was walking in the
Generally the
house
most
and I saw you did it. I was like, oh, I gotta go back and do
Mom
it.
Cops
is
moved
exceeding
those barriers
all of
because
my
they meant to.
representations of her.
I was
that
on the
cop
phone with the lawyer for
Was
that.
able to stop those that
thing I'm supposed
rioting
to do,
mob
that
with a gesture of his
consolidator.
hand.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's like,
He had
yeah,
the
they
authority
sent me
to do so.
500 and some odd dollars.
Are
and
you
I'm like,
watching
no, no, no.
this?
I took out that
There's more.
city that Discover card.
Trump supporters have largely been blamed for the violence against police officers and property, but video footage appears to show a different story. This video taken by NTD's on-the-ground reporters shows Trump supporters trying to stop the people smashing windows of the Capitol building and calling them Antifa. You can hear them saying, "Anyone who does this is not with us." It appears other protesters grab his leg and pull him down to stop him from breaking the window. Other videos show pro-Trump protesters booing those breaking in and calling them Antifa.
Fucking salt and you put the chocolate in the middle
This
of it.
video appears to show them trying to stop the people smashing windows and shoving them towards the police.
You don't like
We do know that many genuine Trump supporters did make it inside the barricades of the Capitol building. A number of them say they didn't use violence to get in, but were let in. In this video, police appear to open the
And
barricades.
then after I had one,
I had
you see
three
where they're at?
more videos
I like salty
that I
chocolate.
had viewed.
Oh,
They've
it's
been
terrible.
I like salt
taken
and
down.
everything.
it's
Just like
terrible.
this.
It's terrible.
The one that I can't locate anymore because Facebook suppressed
Bring
it.
that bacon back home that you
Were-
tried to sneak in my lunch today.
Oh,
Quote
Mom.
unquote
They said you
protesters
can have
walking
a-
down a hallway,
No?
getting
That was
nods
my
from police
exception from
as they
Sundays.
were waved in.
Mom,
And
chop
now
it
we
up.
Now let me tell you
Put it
something
on
as
your salad.
someone who worked in law law enforcement. President Trump doesn't have control over Capitol Police. That's a function of the Capitol itself and the mayor. Trump doesn't direct the police.
No, she's talking about her brother.
So to claim that he's responsible for
You say
what
no to
happened,
Grandpa?
No,
When-
please don't encourage her.
individuals that do not operate under his
He's
jurisdiction,
coming.
let these individuals in. Again, many of which that admitted themselves to
I guess they
being
canceled
part
There,
of
see
the
what she
There's
does?
another
Yeah.
gentleman who made a confession.
I
I
got a
can't get
freaking
that video.
scratcher for a month.
Have to go to
Yeah,
all
she
kinds of
found another roll.
unsafe places on the internet to find the
I
stuff
like that
because they're
show.
getting flagged and
Yeah, I
brought
know.
down.
What was it? The
The
deputy?
veracity of which
Yeah.
you can
The deputy.
figure out on your
Killing
own.
the sheriff, I think.
But this is out there,
Okay, good night, little girl.
and your
Good,
faculty
Dad.
members
Good night, dear.
Sleep
are
tight.
singing.
You
Good night,
too.
Dad.
Don't let the moms bite.
Okay.
Your lay
good night,
workers
good night,
are
guys.
singing. Hopefully they're seeing it now.
Try to contain
And when we get
happiness,
something
but
like what you sent,
I have a feeling this whole
It is
Benny
not
for DA thing is going to go away.
the truth. It's just simply not the truth. It's a narrative. Again, I'm not making any claims of what this all means, who's doing what, who directed what. I don't know. I just know what my eyes saw in many, many videos. I know what my eyes have seen when I watch witness testimony over election irregularities. People that have nothing to gain, having their lives ruined by the press for speaking up about what they saw. And there is an overriding narrative that these people
Voluntary campaign
are
finance
crazy.
job.
Maybe they are. But I should be allowed to hear what they have to say. And these folks are being suppressed, and they're not
Endorsements, they
being
got contributions,
given access to the courts.
contributions, they
And
got
as someone who has been in the court system, I'm ashamed
Everybody wants to
of the
back away.
judiciary.
You know,
I'm
the
ashamed
left
of my
sees
profession.
That someone gets an endorsement, they want to contribute. If the press, opinion makers,
So why am I
fellow
speaking up
politicians
now?
see that someone's
At great
raking in
risk to
finance
my
money,
job
then they
security.
are happy to endorse.
Please don't take this the wrong
I
way,
ran
but
for
I'm not sure
office.
it's worth waking up for.
And I know that the reason why I'm bringing this up now is because it will be brought up. The fact that I'm speaking an unpopular
Nobody
truth.
wants to endorse
I
or
spoke up
contribute
because some
to
of our
someone who
faculty
defends
members
a woman
we're
who may very well have aided and
equating
abetted
Trump
an
supporters to
anarchist that
being
killed 3 people.
far-right racist. 75 million far-right racists. And I thought, wow, that's a unifying
If I
message.
wanted to make a change,
To be told that we're all lumped together. And right now, once
the
again,
damage is done.
the rhetoric has been inflammatory to the point where
All you got for me?
someone has to speak up for these folks. I say this as someone who has not been registered with the Republican Party for many, many years. I've been a third-party
Would you mind
guy for a while.
share some words of wisdom from
So I've got no
this
dog in this
Puerto
fight
Rican woman I used to
from
date,
a Republican
then married,
standpoint.
then divorced.
But I
Then
did
we
run for
fell together,
office as a
but I planned on
Republican
marrying
many,
her
many
again.
years ago
My name
because I
is
saw
Lucy
what I thought
Goswami.
were abuses,
She always
with
used to say,
mass surveillance. I called Edward Snowden a hero when it was very, very unpopular to do so, and I still maintain that he's a hero. I ran for office on things that I thought were important,
she would sell people
to tell people the truth,
Never would have
to
thought
tell them
that
about
they
their government,
needed, but she convinced them that they
and
were.
as one of my faculty members pointed out, yes, I was
Essentials they
a failed
had to
candidate.
have.
I lost the
Otherwise,
election, but I didn't lose my integrity.
completely
In
meaningless.
fact, I fought against bullies in that election. I was 48 votes shy from becoming the presumptive nominee for U.S. Senate race,
Every
and I would have won, but I was hacked. I was hacked by my opponent's campaign manager, and I called him out on it.
A roll of brown toilet paper is a very
And then I
off-putting
was
idea
sued
until you show people how chic it can be in a bathroom
for
filled with
defamation.
gold fixtures.
And I stood up to a legal team by myself, represented myself, and had that case dismissed with prejudice. And to this day, I can tell everyone out there that I was hacked because it was true.
Step back.
So I don't have a tolerance
A very noble
for bullies.
thing, you know that.
I wasn't going to be bullied by a political
The
party.
justice system
I wasn't going
believes
to be
everybody
bullied
deserves their day
uh,
in court.
by a
There's
candidate.
got to be some way to turn that into
When
a
I brought
positive
up surveillance
so
issues
that for
as a
DA.
prosecutor, I had law enforcement that came into my office and tried to
Should
bully me.
I
I
give
wasn't
you that?
silenced then.
Digits of that beautiful Puerto Rican
All this to
village
say,
today.
I'm not afraid to speak my mind
Brother,
when it's
go back to
appropriate.
sleep.
I lost the race. Not bitter about it. I didn't want to be a politician. I wanted to serve and be a servant to the people. And I went back to being a prosecutor. I did my job.
We had my daughter Grace's birthday party at this Tatch.
And then I had the opportunity to get a dream job when that's still
Gracie
working.
was so excited that Alicia.
I'm proud to say
she just adores
that
him.
none of my students
And the kids were having a great time.
would know what my
That is
political
until Max's
affiliation
dad showed
is.
up.
I taught them facts. I taught them how to critically think.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I taught them about business law, which is my job. Many professors
He
here
just
think it's their job
went
to
off
indoctrinate
on his
people with
wife.
political ideology. I don't do
Alicia.
that. You can
He
look at
started
all
calling her
all
words that you should never use in
of
front
my
of children.
student
Words you should never
evaluations.
use
You
at
will
all.
not find anything
A lot of the
even
kids were
remotely
crying.
political
It was
in it.
ugly.
But
And do you
there
recall
are
Mrs.
political attacks
Renfro,
happening in this
Mr.
university,
Doherty
and
was
they're
so
commonplace.
angry about?
And so there's
But
one
something
gentleman
about
here,
the
I will
car.
not name him,
He was mad that Alicia had
equating
driven to the party.
75
Apparently,
million
he had arranged
Trump
to sell the
voters
car that day.
to
And when the
being
buyer
far-right
came to get
racist.
it wasn't there.
I've got a problem
Only
with
Alicia
that.
didn't
I
know
spoke
that
up on faculty
because he
talk.
never told her.
And when I did, it was search and
Let me
destroy.
get this straight.
There was a handful
Mr.
of
Doherty
faculty
was
members
going to sell the
that
family's only
made it
car
their immediate duty
and
to
didn't
do
tell
as
us
much
why.
research about me,
That's the way I heard it.
to
And
provide a
when Alicia
caricature
tried
about
to
me,
remind him of that, to defend
and
herself,
attempt to destroy
he
my
said,
name
of course he
because
didn't
I
tell her,
committed the
because
sin
she's too stupid
of
to
being
tell
a
stuff
Republican
to.
that
Objection,
ran
Your
for
Honor.
office.
Hearsay.
I beg to differ,
I feel
Your Honor.
ashamed to even
The
tell people that I'm
witnesses
not a
testified
Republican because
what was
there's nothing
said
wrong with it.
in what was a
But
very
in
public
this
display of
climate,
temper.
to be a Trump
While
voter,
you're watching this, I'm gonna go make a lunch.
Republican
I saw this
is
already,
treated
okay?
like
All
it's a
right.
sin.
Spoken about loudly
I'm gonna
in
give you
front
that
And this
chicken,
kind of
that frozen
narrative
chicken,
and these emails cement that narrative.
or with salad.
It cements this
Broccoli's
position
good. So it'll hold
of
me
shut
over
up
later.
if you didn't vote for our guy.
You know how to cook it in butter, right?
Now,
No,
it goes
what?
without saying, I need to tell you this.
Can you,
A little bit.
can you
I was a
steam
never
it?
Trumper.
Uh-huh.
Can you steam it?
In the pan.
I had
Can you steam it?
legitimate concerns about his character.
Grill it like.
I wrote
Can you
op-eds
steam it?
about his character.
Steam it? Yeah.
I didn't
Why,
vote
is that better?
For me?
Watch it.
So this is your
Really?
messenger, someone who didn't vote for.
Forgive me.
No.
And then for 4 years, I
microwave?
saw the media
Yeah, however.
absolutely expose
Okay.
itself
I thought you liked
as
it
having
grilled.
no
I do.
credibility,
It's much better tasting, but
extreme bias,
I'm trying to
suppressing
lower my fat
everything
intake, and there's fat and
You
oil.
ended up
Oh,
being
so,
a
you don't
pretty
want
good
oil at all.
Republican
Okay.
president.
She's my best friend at the office.
Not
Did you ever
perfect.
discuss the defendant?
He stood up against media,
Yes.
big tech.
And
It
what was
exists.
the nature of this discussion?
So over 4 years, I got to
You know,
see
I
this
needed some advice.
man
I mean,
who I would have
Alicia
never
had asked
voted
me a
for,
pretty big favor,
and I was
and
conflicted
wasn't
about
sure how to
up
respond.
until the election.
What
I
was
was
the
looking
favor?
for anyone else besides Biden and Trump, but I cast a vote for Trump,
She asked if I would look after Max if anything ever
and I did
happened
so
to her.
without
Objection.
reservation.
Hearsay.
I could not go into
hearsay because it's not being offered
the
for
county
the
clerk's
truth of the
office
matter,
fast enough
but it's
and
evidence
fill out
of
that
Alicia
bubble,
Doherty's mental and emotional state at the
given
time.
what I've seen
I'm going to
politically
allow it. You may
at the
continue,
university
Mr.
and elsewhere.
And
I'm
when
here.
did Mrs. Doherty
I'm not a
make this
racist.
request, Mrs. Renfro? Sometime in early November.
My mother's
I think.
Hawaiian.
Early November.
My grandmother worked at the Dole
That's just
Pineapple
before
Factory.
Adam Doherty
Her mother
murdered Agent Miller
lived
and his
when
little
the
boys.
Kingdom of Hawaii was turned
Sounds
over
to me
to
like
the United
Alicia
States
was coming.
at the end of the gun.
Sounds to me
Racism,
like she was making plans in case she
disgusting.
got caught in the fallout.
I was actually on your anti-racism, anti-discrimination task force this past summer,
Objection sustained.
trying to learn, trying to figure out how to be of service. You know what I heard when I was in my meetings?
No.
A particular faculty member that said over and over again, we have to make sure that a white male doesn't get a certain position. Said over and over again. I could not believe what I was hearing, that someone was going to be disqualified by two things that the person couldn't control: his skin color and his gender. That was the position of this committee. It was reverse racism, and I sat and just watched with dismay. That's what's going on here. Let me end this video this way. There is anxiety with many of your faculty. They're just afraid to share. When I was called out on faculty talk, and I stood up for myself, I had multiple folks reach out to me expressing that this is the way that they feel. You, Mr. President, speak for all of us. But when you omit riots, cities burning all year, and then you make it a point to bring it up now, that's problematic. Your silence speaks volumes. I don't know what's going to happen to me, and I'm fine with that, because I'm going to tell the truth the way that I see it. I hope that you will send another email out stating that you have rushed to judgment. For my faculty colleagues out there that are continuing to call out Trump supporters, to demonize them, I hope that you can treat them and myself with civility. You will not find an email on Faculty Talk where I have attacked someone for being a Democrat, for being a Biden supporter. And I like to think I've got great relationships with my colleagues here. I don't know what's going to happen in the next 11 days, but I pray for civility. I pray for people to have an open mind, to hear the viewpoints of others. I pray that this institution would safeguard free speech and that I would not be retaliated against and punished for expressing what I'm expressing. But I don't accept this narrative. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in the days to come. I think we're all going to be shocked and amazed at what's going to transpire over the next week. Good night.